And no wait to get through security and the front gate. Real quick and easy. I did 7 rides in the first 45 minutes. One ride was in row 2, all the rest were either in row 11 or 12. It was a walk-on the whole time. They even noticed, and at the end there, they were just telling me anywhere in the back, even though I left some seats open in towards the back. So then the question, do I like it more now than I did yesterday? I do. I still would put Nitro ahead of it, and probably Bizarre on Green Lantern too. It'll still remain my least favorite RMC. But it's still, if you ride towards the back, it's really good. If you ride towards the front, it's very underwhelming. It's hard to rate a ride highly if it's only good in a couple rows. And especially when it is still painful. I could keep riding, and if it wasn't causing me pain, I would just keep riding this. But yeah, it hurts my knees. I just decided to endure it and try to enjoy the ride, but it was tough. And yeah, a best coaster you shouldn't have to endure pain for, although I say that and then I love Twisted Timbers, and that's painful, but I like that kind of pain. This kind of pain was more structural as opposed to just airtime impact. That structural pain is a little more difficult to take. Yes, that lift hill is very loud. I was able to get the back row and then row 8 on a re-ride. Walked around, did the front row, then row 7. If you come to Nitro early, you might be able to get those re-rides. That last drop is surprising because it goes down a lot further than you'd think. A little bit like the Apollo's Chariot final drop.
Oh my God.
And that last ride I had in row 7, I had a lot of space, and instead of putting my arms up, I just kind of held the restraint, put my legs out, and boy, I was floating and flying up in my seat more than ever before in this ride. Probably the best airtime I've had on this ride so far. That was borderline ejector. I've always said this is all floater. I think if you get some room, you get in a good seat, it could give you some light ejector. Just like Candemonium and Mako do. They still have their Batman car here. That's no fair. I haven't ridden this yet. Not on this visit. But these are everywhere. Alright, really been looking forward to getting back on this one. I do like the stand-up coasters, and this has been my favorite to my memory. I don't know though. Riddler's Revenge might be better. So 3 rides in on Green Lantern. Yeah, I gotta put this a little ahead of Riddler's Revenge. Not sure why. It has all the same elements minus a dive loop. But it just feels so intense. And if you ride in the back row, you get standing airtime, literal standing airtime on the drop off of midcourse. I'm a big fan of these stand-ups. You just gotta get that perch, especially for you guys, get the perch low. And if you can get a little bend in your knees, that's a good thing too. And a shout out to Leo. He was working. He was operating the ride on the microphone and pushing the buttons and all that. Not sure what that job title's called, but he was doing that for Green Lantern. Sometimes he does it for, I think, Runaway Mine Train and Bizarro. Last time I was here, he was doing Bizarro. Met him at Sesame Place earlier in that same day. Yeah, this time I'm doing Sesame Place tomorrow.
What is that? Just hard turns?
As that turnaround could have been another dive loop, but actually, I like that turnaround. It's actually very forceful. And this is where you get standing airtime if you're in the back. Well, by 1:30, I already had 20 rides in 3.5 hours. Superman was a 10-minute wait. Everything else has been a walk-on. I did 3 rides on Bizarro. The third one, we sat on the train for 10 minutes before they dispatched. Still don't know what happened. But at least we got to ride. They didn't kick us off. They were having some kind of problems. I love all the theming on the ride. I love the back row. Back row is where it's at on this one. Front row, you get a great view and you get that wind in your face, but back row is more intense. The one bad thing about Bizarro is that it is a very, just like Nitro, a very long walk to get off. You got these long rampway switchbacks. It takes forever. And if you do ride in the back, that means you are at the back of the pack. And of course, it's going to move slow being at the back of the pack unless you wait to get some video like I just did. So it's a long walk around to get another ride, unless you happen to manage to be able to stay on the ride, which can happen considering on a day like this when it's a light crowd and they're running 3 trains. Why are they running 3 trains? It's not needed. In fact, running 3 trains actually kind of makes it worse because you sit on the brake run forever. Back row, right seat gets really good whip on this drop. But if you sit on the left side, you get a great view of the safari. Sitting on the right side, you don't get much of a view of the safari. A little bit of a weather delay on all the roller coasters outdoors, and that's the thing that would get me back on Dark Knight. So when Hershey Park has a weather delay, their indoor coaster gets a 2-hour line. Here at Great Adventure, Skull Mountain has a 10-minute line, and the Wild Mouse, the Dark Knight, was about 15-20 minutes. So yeah, there is 2 to spread out the crowd, but still, if they only had 1, you total that up, you're talking 30 minutes at the most, compared to 2 hours at Hershey. How come a far more expensive park gets such a bigger crowd? especially when I think ride lineup, they're about equal. In fact, I'd say that here is probably a little better overall. If everything's running. Both of them have their best coaster not running. Oh, perfect storm events. I rode Kingda Ka 5 times in a half an hour. One time I got a re-ride. And the other, so I walked around 4 times, rode it 5 times in a half hour. So yes, it's a walk-on or a station wait. When has that ever been the case for Kingda Ka? Just a perfect storm of events, pun intended. The rain, I think, has scared a lot of people away. It scared them from coming in the first place. And then those that did come, some of them left when it rained because coasters are down for like 3 hours. The outdoor ones. Okay, so I thought about finishing up with a Nitro Marathon. I did 3 in a row over there because Kingda Ka had built up a line at about 8:15. So went over there, did 3 in a row on Nitro. And I couldn't resist. I had to go back to Kingda Ka for last ride of the night. Although the last ride took place at about 9:05, but it was still the last ride and it was dark. So you don't really have much time to take in the scenery of the surroundings at night to really notice what you're looking at, especially in the dark. But going 128 miles an hour in the pitch black, that was amazing. So my count for Kingda Ka was 7 today, 8 in total for the trip, 4 in the front row. And it is not rough. I don't care what people say. Kingda Ka is not a rough ride. So after my 7 early rides on Jersey Devil, I didn't go back. Yeah, it's good. It just didn't impress me that much. It's number 6 in the park for me. Still only did 3 on Bizarro. I did, like I said, I did 7 in total on Nitro, 3 on Bizarro, 4 on Green Lantern, and I said 7 on Kingda Ka.